All right, hopefully by now you're seeing lots and lots of useful features that would make you want to use Go Formative. It really does cover most everything. But perhaps you're thinking now, well, what about my IEPs, my 504s, oral assignments? I'm a foreign language class. I need my students to speak to me. It'll cover those situations. Let's look at something on that. I have this lesson right here. Let's just pull this lesson. And let's say that I have an IEP where the student needs a read aloud option, right? They need to hear the problems. We say, okay, well, their Chromebook, it has text to speech. And like this first problem right here, I chose a numeric problem. I typed that in. Everything's typed. So it's probably going to be fine with that text to speech, right? But when I get down to number 3, now this was a PDF that I uploaded. I uploaded that PDF for that problem because I had this graph on my computer, had this little problem, so I uploaded that. Text-to-speech is going to view that as a picture file, as a PDF file. Sometimes we'll view as a picture file in these type of where it's inserted like that. It's not going to recognize anything to read there. So you're going to miss that altogether. So you're like, okay, so what do I do? Here's what you can do. And I'd even do it on the ones I type because I don't want to count on the fact that the text-to-speech is going to do it correctly. If I have a problem here and I need the student to be able to hear it read aloud, if I click the little plus sign and I put audio right here, I'm going to add audio. And it says, look, record audio. So I will just simply read what the student would hear. Solve x squared equals 100. Okay, it's uploading the recording. It'll wait. It was a short recording. Shouldn't take long. There you go. And then you can hear it. Solve x squared equals 100. If you like that, you say great. Add the audio. Okay, so now it's right there. So when they hit preview, oh, I did it wrong and replaced my question. Let me type my question again here. Solve, and then I can add the math function. Math, I want to say x squared equals 100. So I should be able to have both of it on there. There you go. So I've got the original problem, solve x squared equals 100, and the optional audio button. When that student looks at it on there, there's the problem. If you don't want to worry about having to have someone read it to you, just go ahead and solve the problem, put your answer there. Or you have that button. So you can do that on any of these just to give that option on the read aloud. So what about where the student has an opportunity to respond orally, right, when they need to be able to tell you the answer back? Or you do have one of those assignments that's kind of like an oral communications things where they need to speak as part of that. If I was doing this where they could respond orally, I would simply copy the question. So if I copy the question, it makes it down here, and I'll say, on number 1, I would say, type your answer below, or record your answer on number 2, right? And then I would make sure to replace my audio to add that, in this case. I want my audio to say that. And then number 2, I'm going to change that to an audio response. Change the question type. All right, audio response. And so when that changes that to an audio response, then they will be able to record something on there. Oh, it's changing it right now. There's a little delay in there. There it is. Audio response. Students will record an audio response. I was ahead of it. It's right here. And now it has a button for them on that. So it's the same problem, because I tell them on number 1 that they can do either one. And they go down here, it says record audio response. Well, I believe the answer is 10. And then they hit stop. And so then it does the same thing. So that way you can listen to it. In this case, they should have had 10 or negative 10 because there's 2 answers on that. But that just gives that opportunity. So you can use that for anything that you need the student to speak, any kind of oral response on that. If you're doing foreign language class and you need something where they need to be speaking, any oral column, anything like that, you can just set up your questions to where they record their answer or they record the response, whatever you're asking to do, and then you just listen to them. So that's a fabulous feature on that. So different problems like that. How about other things you might face on an IEP? Extended time. Extended time would be simply handled when you're assigning. You don't assign everyone the same amount of time with an IEP, right? Some of them go longer. So this test class, so I click, I'm assigning it there, and then I'm going to adjust my settings, and I'm going to restrict it to individual students. All right, so if I click that, it asks me, now I only have one student in this class currently, but I would select all the students, and I would schedule my open and close time and say, okay, this assignment, and I choose my close time. Say this assignment's due midnight on the 31st or whatever time, right? Or noon on the 31st, whatever time I choose. And then for the people with extended time, I come back and I assign it a second time, and I just select them. I don't select them the first time. I select the rest of the class. And then the second time I come through and select those students and just give them a different deadline to when that assignment will close and they'll no longer be able to access it. So if it's a test or something where you do have a definite deadline on that, you can do extended time real easy just by assigning it separately to those students along that time. Another thing you could have perhaps a modification where you're reducing the number of choices, like on a multiple choice. Maybe you're given 4 multiple choice questions, but you have a modification that you're going to cut that down to 3 or 2, even however you need to do that. This is how I recommend you do that, because it can be easily done. I'm going to take that same math lesson. When I click on the little circle next to it, I have this pop up at the bottom, and I'm going to copy it. I'm just going to hit copy. And so when I hit the copy, it's now going to clone it. It's going to make an exact clone of it. See, math lesson cloned. And so on the cloned one, I can click on that and just rename it. I mean, you can leave it cloned if you want. Maybe I'll just say B. And so I know it's the B version of that assignment on there. So I'll rename it. So that I've got a different name. But what I will do then, see math lesson B, is I will go to whichever problems that I need to modify. Say, okay, I've got this multiple choice, and I'm not going to give all 4 choices. I'm going to go over here and delete one of them. Now I just have 3 choices, so I'm going to change it to say 3. So now there's only 3 choices on that. So basically, I'm going to, instead of rebuilding the wheel, here, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to modify anything I need to modify for those few students that I would need that for. And so now I have the exact same assignment, and it just has a few changes. So I can go through and treat that, and just like the first assignment, I'll go and I will go to that. When I go to assign it, I'll restrict it to individual students again, and I will just select the students that need that assignment. So instead of assigning the original assignment to them, I assign the modified, the lesson B that I have made specifically for those IEPs where I might have that need. So again, Formative just gives you all kinds of options to be able to do that. When you can add audio recording of something you have, you can let them record responses, you can modify problems, you can accommodate in all kinds of ways. So I'm not sure what other accommodations you might be looking for or needing on that. But if you have something you're not sure that it can do, email me. I'll brainstorm it with you. I mean, when you think about the most common preferential seating, you bet they are front and center right here. They've got preferential seating. Small group, yeah, that's not a formative issue. So should be able to do all of that. That's kind of the basics. We kind of wanted to give you a good look at just the basics of getting started with Go Formative. I encourage you to get in there, practice a little bit. Just try it. Go in there and see what kind of problems you can create for your assignments. See what your needs are and see if there's a way to set that up. And I would imagine there is. It's really a very flexible program for that. But anything you run across that you have a question about, give us an email. Our last slide at the end of this will have all of our email addresses. So Chris or Susan or myself be happy to answer any questions you got, because we've used this quite a bit and become pretty familiar. So just send us an email, any one of us, and we'll be happy to get back with you. And if we don't know the answer, we're going to try to figure it out with you. Because with all the teachers we have using this, someone's probably tried something what you're needing. But with that, you have an assignment. And if you look at the next slide, you'll see your assignment on there. So get on the account, log in, create an assignment of your own, preview it as a student, take that assignment, grade that assignment. So look at that in the next page, just because we want you to practice with it. Seeing us go through this doesn't help you if you don't get in there and click around a little bit yourself and see if it's going to work for you. But hope you learned something, and please, any questions, let us know. Thanks.